Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of The Sovereign CEO. I have with me back for another visit, Kristen Nagle. Welcome back.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. I just wanted to talk to you. It's been a while. There's been some huge shifts for you and I want to say like your business, but also like your life's mission. I don't know. I thought it would just be really good to bring you on and give everybody an update. I know my audience has been following you for a really long time, or at least a lot of people. And you've gone through so many big positive changes. And I think that our audience could maybe just benefit from seeing a lot of people that were really involved in some really hard things the last 5 years come out better on the other side. Of course, I shouldn't assume that everyone knows who you are. So let's start off with a little intro for maybe some of the folks that don't know who you are. Can you give them a little bit of a backstory?
Yeah. I was a former nurse of 14 years, spent primarily in the neonatal intensive care unit. And then when 2020 came, I could not sit idly back and watch what was happening. So I opened up my mouth and got myself into a lot of trouble over the years. I always say, if you don't know who I am, it's a very fun Google search. You never know what's going to come up there. But I was kind of boots in the ground fighting for several years until after the convoy. For me, I know that's where many first came in, but it was kind of, for me, that was the end. That was the last bit of fight. And after that, after seeing the strength in community with the power that can happen when we come together, how solution oriented we can be, I was like, no, now it's time to go back to our communities and start creating and start paving a new way forward and getting away from the fight. And now it's time to turn to creating. So that is like the very shortest I've ever explained that. But
Yeah, if you're new here, if you're listening, Kristen's definitely worth a Google. Go see some of those stories. I think the last time we brought you on, I think it was about actually the fines. I think we talked about that last time. And wow, have
yeah,
you ever come out on the other side?
yeah.
So you have a new trajectory. You, for a while there, you were helping people with their health. You've been running these really cool birth conferences. Tell us a little bit about the conference and then the things that you're working on right now.
Yeah, the Birth Conference is definitely a passion project, and we're going into our third year, and it's amazing to see the growth, the speakers, the people asking to be a part of it. It's called Reclaiming Birth, and I was an indoctrinated nurse, like full on believed in everything until I didn't. And the last thing to go for me was birth. My both sons were born in hospital with an epidural. I thought, why do I need to read books? I know what birth is. Go to the hospital, they'll tell me what to do. Here comes the baby. Like, it's so interesting to think about. I was just so naive and ignorant to all of it. But when I finally, that veil was open and I was ready to receive the information and hear it, I felt robbed of an experience I didn't know existed, or robbed of an experience that I wasn't ready to even hear about. And I just thought, I'm maybe never going to know what that's like to actually be in our God-given design and birth a baby naturally how we were designed to be. And not, there's a difference between physiological birth and natural birth. And we were blessed to have baby Adley, and she was born at home, out of system, and it was the hardest, most amazing thing I'd ever done. And I just thought every woman needs to know that they are capable of this, and the strength that we have as women, and this gift and power that is within us, and that we can have our babies at home without, epidurals, the medical system, just being totally in our power. And that's where the conference came from, just to get more information out, to bring more awareness, and to let people know that there's another option. And at least they know, where I didn't, I felt robbed of an experience, at least then they can make a choice. And this year we're doing something different. We're bringing in the men. Because so often in birth, it's all about the women and sisterhood and bringing people together, which is so needed and so necessary. But where are the men in these conversations? They're a vital part of creating life, and they need to know how they can be, how they're the advocate, they're the protector, how they create that feeling of a safe environment so the woman feels safe and protected to be able to let go and let her body take over and do what it's designed to do. So I'm so excited that the men are coming into the conversation, that we have a VIP brunch specifically designed just for the men. And I just love to see where this is growing organically.
It's funny. I remember bringing up a doula with Dan, and he was like, "No, like I'm in the room. That's it. That's all you need."
Yeah. A strong man that like knew that he was like capable and able to be there and give you what you needed. Yeah.
Yeah, it was actually wild having Hannah here. Like, I've never really worried about the medical system with birth because we've always lived in such tiny towns. So in Squamish, where we had Lily, the doctor like ran in last minute in like her jeans. Like, there were no scrubs, there was like no nothing. There were like no time for drugs, nothing like that. And then with Hannah, we had a midwife here. Lots of people in Kenora have a midwife and they actually work really closely with the hospitals. And we had her at 10 p.m. So imagine we live on an island. We have to boat to the hospital. And I remember the midwife the whole time, like begging me to have the baby at home. And I was like, no, because I know what it feels like to move. And I'm like, if something goes wrong, I'm not going for a boat ride on my hands and knees. Like, I want to be in the hospital. But an hour after Hannah was born, it's pitch black. The midwife was like, okay, you guys can go home now. And Dan is like, I am not taking this hour-old thing for a night boat right now. He's like, she's staying the night. Like, whether you guys want it or not, like, they're staying the night. We'll come pick her up tomorrow. Like, just so casual about the whole thing.
That's so hilarious. Yeah, just, take a newborn on a boat ride. See ya. Off you go.
In the dark, no problem. Now you've been juggling a few things. You know, you've had your coaching business, you've had some online courses, you've had the birth conference, you're working with a silver and gold company right now. Where do you get this wellspring of energy, first of all? How come I never see you burning out? You're just like the energizer bunny, not to mention your homeschooling. You got that going on in the back end. Like, where do you get this endless energy, especially dealing with now you've had some really big things to deal with in the back end. Is
Hmm.
what is special about Kristen Nagle that you don't get put down no matter what is happening. You're like, no, I'm going to keep building. I'm going to make events. I'm going to create money. Where does that come from?
I'm just going to keep saying it's all his strength of his strength and not mine. There's just this need that's always been within me to keep going and figuring stuff out. And I think for, you have a very diverse, I think, audience. And I think you have some that have been, very successful in entrepreneurship. And I think you have some that are probably maybe like me or around there that are just kind of starting out. But it's really feels kind of messy at the beginning. And I'm someone that's always had a lot of ideas, and it's like trying to figure out like what's going to work and what doesn't and what's going to stick and what's going to land and trying it all out. But I can't sit still. When I was first terminated, I stayed home and just strictly like homeschooled the kids. That's a little bit of a lie because I was doing Canadian frontline nurses. But I remember thinking, why can't I be content with being at home and homeschooling? And the amount of mom guilt that put on me at the beginning was really heavy for anyone that might have felt that way. And so for the last little bit, I've been trying to figure out where this space is for people like me. You have on one end the homesteaders, the trad wives and everything, everything has a label to it. And then you have like the successful like boss bitch or whatever on this side. But like, what about trying to figure it out how to make it work with a family in tow? And I guess that's what I've just been figuring it out, because it's in part a bit of survival, right? At the beginning. And then so it's like, okay, well, there's no choice but onward. We have to keep things going. So there was that survival of like, have to go. And then in the last little bit, it's like, okay, but how do we build this the way that we want, that fits for us, that doesn't have to fit into a label or fit in this way or that? And I kind of went off a tangent because I didn't really answer your question. I don't know where the energy comes from. That's why I just keep saying it comes from God, and just trying to figure out solutions and figuring things out and how to keep going, and really and how to also not just preserve our family, but how to help everyone else around us.
Mhm. 100%. Well, I do see you paring down though. Like
Mhm.
you do still have a few projects on the go, but I see you more and more doing less and less.
Yeah.
How does that feel in 2025?
It feels really good and a lot more focused and a lot more aligned and less all over the place. It was a lot of just definitely just, what is the saying? Like just throwing, is it pasta against the wall? Like what's going to stick and what works. And there was a lot of kind of denial in what was working for me. And you know this because I was in the mastermind with you, and the gold was working. But I kept trying to be like, okay, well, it is working, but that can't be my thing. I have to do this other stuff.
Mm.
And then it came down to like, well, why can't that be my thing? And it's interesting because coming back this past week, we were just at convention in Orlando, and I realized how powerful this actually is. And it's not just about the gold and silver, showing that it can be done with my family, and that, a woman, a mother, poor Adley, not feeling well the last day, the heat and the busyness and lack of naps and everything, finally got up to her, caught up to her. And I thought, yeah, she can cuddle with me while I'm at dinner and you guys do your thing, we'll be fine. So she just slept. She was so exhausted, just slept in my arms. And what I was not expecting was to get called up on stage 4 times with a sleeping babe in my arms to receive top awards. And so here I am up there with this baby in my arms accepting these awards on stage. And what that showed me was that I can do this. I do belong in this space as an entrepreneur, because I fought with that for a long time too. And I can do it, and I can do it with my kids, my baby, and we can do this together. And I didn't realize the impact even that would have on the people that were around me too, watching. So I just realized there's a bigger role that is being played out right now. I don't know why I feel so emotional about all this, but I am right now. So if I
I
started
wish
having tears.
I wish I had that photo to pull up actually, like just for people listening. She's a baby, but she's not like a baby
No, she's
baby.
a toddler. Should I just call her
Yeah.
my baby?
uh, Kristen's up on stage and you're cradling baby girl, and she's just like head pulled back, like totally comatose on stage. But I didn't know that was 4 times you had to do that. That's amazing.
I didn't know either, because like someone helped me walk back with my first award, and I just, no one told me I'm in the very back last table in the back corner of all places too. And so I just make it back to my seat, and then my name is called again. I was like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Yeah, back again, holding this toddler across the stage. Yeah.
It's funny. You mentioned just hearing something that you didn't want to hear. And I've been in that place so many times. And I think that's what helps you become a good entrepreneur or a coach, right? You're teaching what you know, you're teaching what you've gone through. And I know for myself, there were years and years where I just had too many things and I could do them. I could juggle them all. And I was kind of lying to myself that like it was working and it was fun for me. But if I really was honest with myself, there was way too much time spent on all of those things and there wasn't the return. And the more I've whittled down my own business to be focused, even stuff like my content, like the things that I talk about, the things that I sell, the more I do less, the more success I find. And that's something that you and I talked about too. You can do anything, but you can't do everything. It doesn't really like you want to research, you want to do some market research, like what is a good idea, but it also doesn't really matter. You could choose doing live events, you could choose the coaching business, you could choose network marketing. Doesn't really matter, but you got to go all in. And that's something the creative brain hates. No, I don't want to choose. And we think that we'll be bored. But what I have found is when you eventually just commit to doing one thing, you don't get bored. You actually get busy
Yeah.
because you find out, my God, there are a million things that I wasn't doing to really bring this thing to life. Like you just get busier, but it's like focused attention. Then all your events, like you going to Orlando, is for this one thing. The content that you make is for this thing. The podcast that you go on is for one thing. So you still get to do all these things, but they just get funneled to one place instead of a fire hydrant gone awry. And I've been a fire hydrant for years.
And it is really interesting, because when I was like, no, I actually am really good at this, and I need to be in this space, and I want to be in this space, and I don't want to let people down. And having that community with us, like last year, from it was myself, you came on a stick, and
Yeah.
and two others. But from my like personal to then, going into this year, there was 10, 11 of us, like directly linked, and it was just beautiful to see. And then I was like, okay, now, like you said, when you focus and go all in, which I was like, no, I do want to do this. And then it becomes, you're still in this one thing, but now there's these other opportunities that come from it. Because then it's like, okay, well, now there's different things to teach the group on, to coach on, different other areas that you can go in and help. Then there's different other ways to elevate and do this, but still in the one thing. But yeah, you end up finding other stuff to keep busy, but in the best way, because then it just elevates and you're focused on this. That's what I've been finding now. I'm like, oh, I get to do all the things I was trying to do in different coaching in different areas and all the things, but now it's actually focused in this. And that feels really, really exciting and nice.
And
Mm-hmm.
so, what is it about this particular network marketing company that is attracting so many people in, I don't know, the freedom movement, people that are awake? What is it that's so interesting about this particular company for people that are freedom minded?
Yeah, I think the fact that one, it's a disruptor in the industry. There's nothing like it. They're the only one doing this with the platforms that they have, the technologies that they have, the that they're new. They're kind of they're going into their 10th year, but really a baby in the space. We're just brand new in Canada. We're just getting started. But I think people are looking for solutions about how can they, protect themselves. Like people are really feeling inflation these days. It is very real. We saw what happened at the end of April with the election. People want to feel like they have their ducks in the row. And this provides that tool. We're creating this community, this network where we get to create this beautiful infrastructure that is kind of out of system, private, and we get to support each other no matter what happens in the world. We get to continue to lift each other up, and we get to keep saying, I'm rising up, but I want to bring everyone with me. So whoever wants, come in. But it's been beautiful to see that there's no competition within it. It's everyone, the servant leaders and the founders pour their hearts into this. Like, oh my gosh. Just watching them this past week, more and more, just these founders of what they're trying to do for people, for Canada, like for everyone. It's just, I don't know, it's kind of leaves you almost speechless. One of them, is in their 80s and, he's not sure if he's going to be coming back next year or not. It was a pretty honest conversation, but just the emotion that they get seeing what is happening and the impact and hope that it can bring in people's lives is special. One of our members, Leah McInnes, another former nurse, she got pushed out of her comfort zone and she got to speak on stage this year to just share a testimony about what it's done for her. And she shared what it was like after losing her partner while she was pregnant with her second. And her child was only a one-year-old and pregnant with their second. And he was killed in a car accident. And the shame and guilt she had around money and receiving and what that happened. And then this coming into this community has healed her. She's been able to accept and receive and call in abundance. And she was able to honor his name on stage and help so many other people that have gone through loss, that have experienced it. And I keep coming back for that. It's the more than of how we impact lives and how our stories can be shared to have a monumental effect on everyone else. So it was a really emotional moment. And I was like, this is a why that keeps me here because of people like Leah.
Well, my experience with the company too is it's the most tangible, practical thing that a business can sell. You're not convincing someone that they need an energy device or a supplement or a cleaning product. It's money. Like you don't really need to convince people that they need money or that they need to protect their money. Like people know that. So it's been an incredibly easy business model to use because people get that.
There was two statements, and our mind kind of knows this, but the way it was described, I was like, oh yeah, that's like a really simple way to say it. Like we're not asking you to deplete your bank account, we're asking you to save, and that's all it is a way to save actual money and actual assets. And the other thing was, my business expense is creating a legacy for my children. I was like, yeah, those are two pretty amazing things to have right now.
Yeah, just real briefly, can you explain that system for people? Like what is 7K doing? If somebody gets a 7K membership, how is it helping them save their money?
It's taking your current currency because it's your fiat, which is fake monopoly money, and you're not buying something. You're able to exchange it into an asset, into gold or silver at a fractional amount. So I was even doing a calculation. If someone, because I joined 2 years ago, if someone was able to put $5 away in gold every week for the last 2 years, what would it do? And it would have increased by $300. You would have saved about, I think, $1,300 by doing that. $5 a week. That's it. Versus if you save that $5 in a bank, you would have lost about $200 or something like that. I can't remember the math, but I remember it was like a very significant, like lose or gain by just being able to put $5 a week. So they've created a platform of being able to purchase fractional gold or silver, as low as $1 or as high as you want. And now they've created a system which is really beautiful because someone like, we're just talking about how busy we are, lots of busy people out there. And now we can just save automatically. So you get to set how much you want to save, the first of the month or, the second week, bi-weekly, monthly, whatever it is on your budget, set it, forget it. And you know that you are exchanging your fiat money into an asset automatically, disciplined savings. Yeah, which is pretty beautiful. So this is what we're doing, and the ability to member gift. And this is the part that gets us really excited with, whatever is going on in the world, we can now support each other within this membership and just good services and gift gold and silver. And we did this on March 1st. We held a Sound Money vendor event and all these local businesses came out, and it was really amazing to support them. And we're able to gift each other in gold and silver. Yeah, through this platform of fractional gifting and buying and selling. And that's the other piece, is the storage and the ease of liquidation. It's just you need access to it, and then boom, it's back into an account that you can use out in the world.
Yep. So it's a parallel economy as well. I mean, I get really busy and tend not to pay attention to my finances always as much as I should. And, I use this membership and I look the other day, and because I have like the set it and forget it, there was just like $10,000 sitting in my bank account that I totally forgot about because I just set that. No, it's so good because we just signed on with, I don't know if you remember Pitar. He does wealth management. He was at the MYM event. To do something like that, you need a big chunk of change in order for them to manage and invest your money. Or if you went to a traditional store, I think gold's it's like $3,500 right now if you want to buy gold. That's out of reach for a lot of people. So they go, oh, well, this conversation isn't for me. I can't do this. And that's what I really love about the system that you're using. You can just start today with like $100, right? You don't need to have wealth to start. This can help you. And it's super empowering when you start making those baby steps. Just like as a business owner, when you make your first sale, it could be a $7 sale. You're like, oh my God, I know how to make money. And what's $7 going to do for you? Not much. But that's an important first step to then create more and more. And it's the same with saving and investing. So I love it for that reason. Plus the owners, we've all met them, very, very awake, very understanding of the times and what's going on. They try not to talk about it too much, but they know, which is helpful. Same with my wealth manager. I won't personally talk to anyone about money unless they see what I see and are on the same page. I'm definitely not taking financial advice from someone that doesn't understand what's happening here.
No, or cheering on Carney as a banker. No, they have to be aware of what's going on in the world. Otherwise, how can you trust them? You can't.
A banker with no budget. Speaking of which, I imagine that you guys are probably getting even busier with the election and with people worried about the economy. And are you noticing that trend? Are more and more people buying gold and silver because of the Canadian election?
Yeah, there's definitely been a shift. I think people are realizing what's happening with our dollar, becoming more aware. It seemed to me there was a lot of like breath holding, like just waiting, right? And then once the decision was made, it's okay, now we got to do something. Now we got to act. So yeah, things that people are coming in, people are asking questions, people want to be more prepared, have tools. And this isn't to replace anything that you're doing, but it's just to add another tool to get us through whatever is coming in the next little bit. And the more we can prepare ourselves, the more we can stay connected, I think the better off we're going to be no matter what is coming our way.
Yeah. And I'm very much watching things and thinking, I hope Carney does a good job. I hope he does. And if he does a good job and he doesn't follow through on all the things that he says he's going to do in his books, I'll be the first one to give him a round of applause. I do think people can change and maybe he'll do the right thing. And if he does, great. But in the meantime, he's doing some things that are looking like a red flag, like not having a budget. Personally, after the election, I just said to myself, well, I'm going to stop paying attention to politics and focus on making money because ouch.
Yeah. And that's all we can do is focus on our, I always say like our hearts, our homes and hands, and the hands are those of the community and who we can link hands with. And because that's it, that's where the real change happens. The rebellion starts in the home and it starts with us first, and then the ripple effect from there. And we can't expect it to come from, top. top down. It always starts from the bottom up. And I think that's what we're doing. That's what I'm excited about, because this is where I see it's really affecting families, helping them, giving them hope. The amount of stories and testimonials that we have heard that people finally have hope, that they don't, they're not afraid anymore. And this is what I've been leaning into. That's that word that keeps coming up. I've said it many times in our calls, is that being the faithfully fearless. And it all comes encompassing in this as well, is, having the faith in what we're doing, having faith in something greater than us, having faith in knowing who's won the victory, and moving forward without fear, because fear just holds us back. Fear keeps us in scarcity mindset. Fear just keeps us trapped. And if we kind of keep that, faithfully fearless, stay connected, keep moving forward, that's how we're going to get by. And that's really the only place that I see real change coming in.
How does God play a role in your business? You shared a really cool book with me called Purpose Fooled, and I really loved it. It was about taking that pressure off of yourself to be the one that needs to create something, that needs the spotlight to, I don't know. It's like you can create, you can build a business, you can do all these things, but that's not where your purpose lies. Like, do those things if you want, but that's not the most important thing. The most important thing actually just is your relationship with God. So take the pressure off of yourself of thinking you need to build and do all the things. I mean, that's been my message this year, is I can do nothing without God. Nothing. It's this humbling slap that I get almost every day. Every time I open the Bible, every time I hear a verse, actually that's what I see. Without God, you can do nothing. I'm like, right. But with God, you can do everything. I'm curious how that shaped your business.
Yeah, I'm sure it's probably the same. I mean, we're all the flesh. I'm sure it's the same with you. It ebbs and flows, because sometimes I forget. And sometimes I try and like power through and do it on my own. And then I'm like, no, 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 that's not how you do things. Always God first, family, then business, and all the things that we're doing. I was getting emotional again when you said that, because I just realized that I was praying. I was like, God, this is going to be used for your testimony. Everything I do is to glorify you and a testimony in your goodness. And I had prayed to walk across the stage, at this like certain rank or whatever. And it didn't happen. But then I realized just now as we're talking, I was like, oh, wait, it wasn't the rank. He walked me across differently than I expected to. And how he walked me across was actually more impactful than what I had in my head. And it's really interesting, because we always have these ideas of how we want things, but he has a different plan. Same thing with my nursing career. Like, I don't know if I ever would have left that if it wasn't for him blowing up the bridge and having no choice but to only move forward. And it's really interesting, because we have this idea in our head, and he's like, no, 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 I have bigger plans, just trust. And that's what I've been trying to lean into more, is the trusting and the surrendering. And I thought I'd walk across with this rank, and I didn't get it. So I was like, okay, no big deal. Maybe next time, God. But just as we're talking, I was like, oh no, he walked me across as top team builder. And that was monumental to show that, what we're doing in Canada, what we're building, and that I am doing this and capable of it. And I just realized that now in this call, that he walked me across differently than I expected.
That's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the same. I never would have left my yoga studio had all those horrible things not happened. And same, I get caught up every now and then when we're experiencing wins. Look what I can do. Look at the money I'm making. Look at the success we're having. Whenever that happens and I forget, every single time, God slaps me with temporary depression every time. And like all of a sudden I'll be like, why do I feel bad? And I'll start feeling worse and worse and not able to work. It happens every time. I'll start like feeling burnt out, not able to concentrate. And then I pray and I come back to like, oh God, clearly I can do nothing without you. And then almost like
Yeah.
instantaneously, he's like, there you go. Like
Mm-hmm.
we have this very cheeky relationship where he knows when Carla feels great, she forgets about me. So every now and then I have to get her attention by burning her out or making her feel bad, and then she comes back.
I love how you said you have a cheeky relationship, because I love that we introduce each other to different books, and I have the Purpose Fooled right beside me, but it's buried, so I don't want to pull it out and be like Jenga. You introduced me to Beautiful Outlaw, and I was like, oh my gosh, like just breaking down the personality of Jesus. And one of the things is that he's cunning, and right, like he's like you said, he's cheeky. You have this like the actual personality of him, and I was like, oh, it's just beautiful and unique to everyone, whatever that relationship might look like. He knows how
I
to
think
speak
that's
to
the
us.
best book I've ever read.
Yeah.
I love it. It's like Jesus was a rebel and he was hilarious. Like he came back from the dead and could have like come down from the sky in gold, like, ha. And instead, he like snuck up behind everyone and was like, what's everybody crying about?
Yeah, yeah. You catch anything,
It's
guys? Have
so
you caught anything yet? Yeah.
yeah.
Like, when you break it down that way, it's like, oh, yeah, you kind of miss that when you're just like reading through, but it's like, oh my gosh, the beautiful personality of it, and remembering to bring that into work, life, business, all the things, right? Remembering the joy, remembering the funny, the humor, it's all there.
Honestly, this is my biggest realization about Christianity and why they say the path is narrow. The path is not narrow because it's rules that you have to follow. That's not why.
Mhm.
For me, what I realize is the path is narrow, and most people don't take this because it requires a humbling
Mhm.
that most people aren't willing to do. Like just that act of like, I can do nothing. People, especially entrepreneurs, they actually don't like that. They're like, no, 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 I'm actually very, very capable and I can do these things. And, I have Christian male mentors now. Those are my coaches. And it's very, very different conversations than the other coaching containers that I've been in, where it's about like sexy photo shoots and look at me energy and manifestation. Like those are not the conversations that I'm having at all. Our conversations are about helping people, stewarding your wealth well, tithing and giving back, which reminds me, I have a cool tithing story for you. But it's there's a humbling,
Mhm.
and most people don't want to be humble. I know I don't. And it's easy to get an ego as a coach because you are a problem solver and an advice giver. And it's really easy to think that you can do this on your own, but it's actually not fun to do things of your own strength all the
Mhm.
time.
No, here, this one I can get from my book Jenga that I have beside me. Here's another one for you if that's okay, since we're talking about books. But this one, you are not
You're not
enough. Going from this conversation, you are not enough, and that's okay. Escaping the toxic culture of self-love. Sounds kind of like,
you
not
know
so
it.
great, but it's actually really empowering and beautiful.
I've never been a fan of affirmations anyways. There's actually like that feels so sad to me. Like being in a sad mood and being like, I am worthy. I don't know. I'm sorry, it feels like a little pathetic to be like, I am worthy, I am loved. I'm like, are you? I don't know. I don't feel better when I say those things to myself. You don't
Hmm.
want to talk bad about yourself ever.
Hmm.
But I don't know. That's personally never helped me. Maybe it helps other people, but it's personally never helped me.
It's not really real though, is it though? But that goes back to finding where we get our strength from. And I think that was kind of, one of the original questions, where does it all come from? Well, I'm just, out of everything that happened in 2020, I am just so glad he picked me up off the floor and and put back the pieces and just, show me how to put on the armor and keep going. I think, honestly, I think we've talked about this too, that I think the biggest gift is, I think I heard you say it first, the white pilled. Didn't know what that was, but
Yeah.
that's what's happening here, and I'm just yeah, I'm here for it. I'm really excited to see hearts moved, hearts transformed, the way people are going, what they're doing, and shifting, and it's really beautiful.
So let me tell you my tithing
Oh
story.
yes.
I kind of got out of a habit with tithing. If you don't know what tithing is, it's you give away 10% of the money that you're making. And it's just a really good habit to give generously. Sometimes I give to the church, sometimes I give to other people. It helps you detach from money as you're making it. And it's interesting because money in the Bible it's the only place in the Bible where God says, test me. And I got out of my tithing habit for a while. I just kind of forgot. And then I was reminded of it, and it was around Canadian tax time. So I wasn't feeling particularly generous. I was feeling like really wanting to cling to that money. But instead of just going online and finding my 10%, I prayed about it and I said, how much do you want me to give? And almost immediately, I heard a very specific number, like a very specific number. And I was like, oh, did you just make that up in your head? So I kind of waited a few days and I just kept hearing that number, kept hearing that number again. I texted my pastor and I said, what things are you looking for support with right now? And he like listed a few different programs that they're running. And I said, is there anything special to you about this number? And I said the number that was in my head. And he's like, that's exactly the amount left that's required to cover our summer youth program. And I was like, done, sending it to you today. Here you go. I get shivers when I think about it. And then already, that was just last month. And this month, I already forgot to do it. So I have to do it again this month. But when you start doing that, you're really reminded like it's okay that you can't do everything yourself. And God says, test you because he's test me with money. Because he's saying, if you are able to part with it, don't worry, I'll give you everything that you need. And it's not that God will make you rich. Like, I think it's that understanding too that you might get exactly what you need, like a roof over your head. I'm of that belief as well. Like, it doesn't have to be wealth, but my business has grown 575% since I started like doing these things. And the more that I give, the more that it grows. And if it doesn't grow, I'm okay with that too. But, you know, a lot of people are scared to give, especially if there's not a lot to give. But it's an interesting practice, especially while you are creating money. It's okay to create money, but it helps you detach from that becoming an idol in your life and being the most important thing if you're willing to part with it too.
I'm going back into that trust and knowing that everything that you need will be provided for. And that takes a lot of faith. And that's, again, stepping into that place of faith. Everything you need will be provided for.
Yeah. So, Kristen, there's a lot of people in my community that are doing really well after everything in the last 5 years. We have lots of entrepreneurs, lots of creative people, lots of people that are kind of in the same mindset as you and I, like time to move onwards. There are also some people that are feeling really stuck right now and they're black pilled and they're not making these big moves. What kind of advice would you give people like that are feeling just not motivated to do things or feeling scared to take chances on entrepreneurship or business? What advice would you give them?
Reach out for help. Find those that maybe you resonate with that can help. I just know that things aren't always going to be as fast as you want as well. Like, I think when I first reached out to you, I had this whole idea and I was like, this is what it's going to be. This is what I'm doing. I'm going to launch it out to the world and it's just going to land and it's going to be so good. Like, I just saw it and it wasn't, and that's okay. But it was a good reminder. And then throughout, that whole year was like, okay, well, that didn't work. What's next? What can I do? And there was so much doubt in if I was capable, if I could do this, if, what am I doing? Should I be doing this? But the one thing that helped me was staying consistent and always showing up. And it was funny, right? With the gold and silver, that was one thing that was easy. That was one thing that was easy for me to always show up for and be consistent with and just do even a little bit on my time when I could. And then I started to do a little bit more. And then I started to do a little bit more. But it's picking yourself back up and being consistent and not quitting. And then eventually that foundation is created, the relationships are created, and then it just starts to pick up and it just goes. I've been in this for this pace, like with 7K for 2 years now. And it's not until this past year where things are like the momentum. I see it. I see the foundation of dedicated, consistent work that I put in. I see the foundation that has been laid, and maybe it wasn't as fast as I wanted or didn't seem as glamorous at the time, but now I see that all that work and staying consistent, staying in is paid off. And now, just keep doing that. So don't quit, stay consistent, keep going, and reach out for help and ask. Yeah, ask for help.
Yeah. Yeah, I think mentorship is really important right now. But yeah, you have to take action no matter what kind of business. There's two types of people. I just got off the phone with a client who's like a massive action taker. She's probably gone through our whole scale program in like a week. She's like, what's next? What do I do? And I'm like she's going to see huge results because she is just a fierce action taker. And then there's other people, especially when it comes to network marketing, it'll be months before they like reach out to someone for the first time. And then they're like, I did it. I reached out to someone. And I'm like, oh girl, I don't know if this is like the right thing for you because you have to move. No matter what kind of business, like if it's taking like months to put up a piece of content or months to have a conversation with someone, yes, things build slow, but like you got to be, yeah, like you said, consistent. You don't have to be fanatic about it. Like our YouTube channel, we do one video a week. It's growing slow and consistently, or my gold and silver bank account, right? Just slow picking it away and eventually it's big. But if I was waiting months to do that, there's going to be nothing in that bank account, nothing happening with the business. And that's something a lot of people aren't doing. Way too much time thinking about taking action and not enough doing it's
doing.
messy.
And you got to do, and you got to fail, and you got to hit those rejections, but you have to just keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. And every time is learning. That's what I had to understand too. Like, I'm a nurse, glorified order taker. You know, we think that we can critically think, but only if you think inside this box. Otherwise, you know, you're booted out. So it was a whole new world for me. I'd never been in this space before. I was trying to organize myself, you know, dictate for myself, come up with all these things, do it all on my own and figure it all out. So I had to have a lot of grace, but then realizing it's just all skills. Just like I learned skills in nursing, I just had to learn these skills too. And never compare yourself to the speed of anyone else. Because I was really hard on myself for that. But I mean, everyone is going through different things at different times and different stuff going on in your life. So just have grace with where you're at and know that you're running your own race and you're in your lane. But just keep consistent, keep showing up, and yeah, keep going.
Yeah, I love that. Kristen, thanks for coming on today. Where can people find you?
You can find me predominantly on Instagram still at Kristen_Nagle. I do have my website, KristenNagle.ca. Those are the two places that I'm probably most active in. You can sign up for one of my weekly newsletters. You get some German new medicine tidbits in those newsletters. Today was just on diabetes and if you're resisting your body. So interesting things. But yeah, those are the two places that you can find me.
Awesome. So good to see you today.
Yeah, you
Folks, go
too.
and give her a follow. Go give her a Google.
Don't trust me to read though.
Thanks for coming, Kristen. Everybody listening will make sure to tag her accounts there so you can go over and give her a follow. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you.
Hey guys, quick interruption here. I love to talk about politics and culture, but I love to talk about solutions even more. Knowing how to increase wealth is one of those solutions. If you're an established entrepreneur or online coach who's looking to grow their business this year, check out the show notes to see if you qualify for our Scale program. We're helping serious entrepreneurs scale their business using my IG client acquisition system, the very same system that has helped us generate over 70,000 organic leads for our coaching business. If you're done making content that doesn't convert, if you're done having inconsistent cash months, but you have a great offer, you love helping people, and you know you just could blow this thing up if you just got it in front of more eyeballs. And if you're ready for a simpler strategy that doesn't burn you out, check out the show notes now to apply for our Sovereign CEO Scale program. While you're down there, check out the link for my free community. It's called The Vault. The Vault is a curated community of serious business builders. It's where I share my unique systems for growth and where you can actually learn from me live each and every month. So again, if that's you, if you're an established entrepreneur or online coach looking to grow their business this year, head on to the show notes now so that you can see these options for growing your business with me. That's a wrap for today's episode of the Sovereign CEO podcast. If you love what we do here, if these conversations challenge, inspire, or equip you in any way, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Leave a 5-star review. It helps us reach more entrepreneurs just like you who are ready to build wealth, freedom, and solutions that change lives. And if today's episode hit home, share this episode with a friend, because the more of us who are equipped with these tools for freedom, the better. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being critical thinkers. And I'll see you guys next time on another episode of the Sovereign CEO podcast.